1. All right, I'm just making sure we're good. PL, how you doing? I'm glad to see you in the chat. Anyone else who's here, I'm happy to see you guys. Welcome. My name is Brittany Lewis. I'm a professional graphic designer and illustrator. And Sundays is the day that I have, or that I work on my dream project, the Cosmic Gateways Tarot. So this week we are diving into the Four of Swords. I'm really excited to sort of get into this. I hadn't really looked at it much since the last time that I worked on it. I don't know why I'm holding the mic, because I won't be doing that through the stream. But we're going to be working on the Four of Swords. Before we get into it, if you would like to support this channel, please do me a huge favor and hit the thumbs up button. That helps me out a whole lot. That lets YouTube know that you enjoy and value the information, the video, the art, all of the things that you see and experience here with me. Hey Montreal, hope you're doing well. Hope you guys are doing well. Another way that you can support me is by visiting my website, blewisarts.com. Right now until the 27th, I'm running a birthday sale from, let's see, 40% off and free shipping off of all of the canvas prints. So if you have an opportunity to do that or would like to support me in that way, we are running a birthday sale currently. So I would love to see your order. I do a little bit of a happy dance every time I get one. It always makes me feel good. And I like to hear that you guys are enjoying the art. So we're going to get right into it. But before we do, let me catch you up. All right, so over the last couple of weeks, we have been working on the Four of Cups, as well as we've been working on Lee's portrait, who was the contest winner. Thank you so much, PL. PL says happy early birthday. I really appreciate that. We finished up the Four of Cups last Sunday, I believe, and I did a little bit of tinkering just to sort of make it a cohesive story. This is the Four of Cups. It features a young woman sitting by a tree. She is staring lovingly, or maybe not so much. Maybe she's a little bored. I'm not real sure, but she's staring at 3 crystal singing bowls, and there is a character who is offering her a different singing bowl. So I really like how this came out. One of the things that I really wanted to emphasize with this was this sort of sunlit texture. So it came out really nicely. I only did a few little tweaks here and there, mostly with the background once I had completed it on live last Sunday. So really happy about that. That is card number 40. So we are 40 cards deep. We have 38 left to do. So I'm extra excited about that. Also, let me close this out so that we won't take up too much space. Over the last couple of Wednesdays, we worked on Lee's portraits. Olivia in the building. I finished the portrait. I hope you like it so much. I really enjoyed working on this. Of course, I tell you guys this all the time. Portraits are my favorite thing in the world to work on. I love painting pictures of people because it's a very intimate art form. Like, you get to see and notice different aspects of a person's face and their personality through the portrait work. And so was able to do this for our contest winner, Lee. I'm so happy that you guys entered the contest. Thank you so much to everyone who did that. If you're wanting to see sort of what the entrances look like, go back a couple of live streams. I think the title is like giveaway or something like that, to read what people said about the Cosmic Gateways Tarot. There were only 2 rules. The 2 rules were to follow me on Instagram and to tell me what your favorite card from the Cosmic Gateways Tarot was and why. And so Lee won that contest. I'm so excited about it. Came out really well. When it comes to artwork, I always find like an odd thing extremely satisfying. It's always like, it's never really like the whole picture. Of course, I'm really happy with the whole picture, but it's like aspects of a picture, right? So with Lee's picture, I really enjoyed the hair. I don't know why it is. It's like the chalk texture, as well as sort of the pen strokes and things like that, and how it bleeds into the background. I really love that so much. The second part of her image that I really liked were her piercings, because I thought that the texture, I was able to sort of capture the texture of metal against her skin, which really was nice, as well as the spikes. So if you missed those 2 live streams, we did them back to back this past Wednesday and Thursday. I streamed for about 6 hours between the 2, and I worked on this portrait from start to finish, except for the sketch, which I did off of live just to save myself some time. I really enjoy how this turned out. Really happy about it. So I was thinking maybe one of these days I'll paint another one of you guys. But if you are interested in purchasing or having your portrait worked out, visit the description, because I have links for how to do that there as well. So I'm really happy about that. So it turned out really well. All right, so the Four of Swords is the card that we're jumping into. And I think I started this card maybe 2 weeks or so ago. This card depicts a young man who is sort of kneeling in contemplation and in meditation in front of a sword, and he has the remaining 3 swords behind him. I want this to feel very somber. I don't know that I am pointing to death, but it's certainly inspired by the Harikiri ritual that was done in Japan. It's like a ritualistic suicide. I don't know if I'm channeling that specifically, but it's certainly the vibes. So with this image, I've already done the flats. We did that during one of the Wednesday streams, and I did begin working on the background a little bit. I did some of the screen windows in the back, and I started to work on the horn, and I'll be working on the sword today. So we're just going to pick up right where I left off. We'll be working a little bit on the horn as well as the swords, and I might even do some of the screen doors. But I have with me in my reference panel the reference that I created for this. I found a background that I liked close enough to what I was going for. Of course, I added my own sort of spin to it, but this will be the primary background that we'll go for. And then I picked some swords. As I was working on the 2 of swords, I was like doing some research and things like that. So I found a couple swords that I really like, or a sword that I really like for this picture. And so we'll be using that as well. So that's what we're going to do. I'm really, really excited. I hope you guys had a great week. I have a birthday coming up. So I'll be 39 tomorrow. So I'm really, really excited about that. So this may not be a very long stream because, you know, I'm pre-gaming, pre-gaming birthday. So, but we're going to get done what we can get done, and we'll probably work on this particular image for the next few Sundays. And then on the Wednesday stream, once we jump back into the Cosmic Gateways Tarot, I'll probably work on the 3, not the 3, child, we in 4s, in the 4 of Wands. So that one, I have the idea set up, but I don't necessarily have the sketch done yet. So we'll work through that in the coming Wednesday. So if you like a little more chill live stream where I'm not doing a whole lot of talking, I talk at the beginning and at the end of the streams, but I don't do a whole lot of like explanation or anything like that. Those are really fun because I'm chatting with you guys. So PL has been one of the people that slid through. We had a couple others come through. I can chat with you right while I work. So that's really, really fun. So if you like that sort of stream, join me on Wednesday at about 12:45 ish or so. I try to shoot for about 12:45 Central Standard Time, which is 1:45 Eastern. Around that time works pretty good for me, so we'll see how they go. So if you want a more chill live stream, join me Wednesday. Until further ado, let's get into this. All right, so what I'm looking for now, just to catch you up again, I did all of the flats. I did sort of the skin tone. I did the color of his hair. I did his robe, you know, so all of the flats are done. So we're really just jumping right into doing details. And where I left off was I was working on this horn. Sort of was aiming for like a longhorn look. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a Texas longhorn cow, like in person, right? But they have these huge horns. So that's sort of what I was going for to mount the swords on. This may not take a long time. I don't foresee this particular image being very time consuming. The last one wasn't either, the 4 of Cups. It really wasn't time consuming. There are always these little like odds and ends that I like to find and work on. But for the time being, let's do this. We're going to work our way from the back forward. I do believe, again, this may not be a long stream. I don't know. We'll see. But let's get right into it. So I have to remind myself, because again, I have not worked on this image in quite a while, where the layers are, right? So looking at this horn, it looks a little bit thin for my liking. So what I'm going to do is just sort of beef this up a little bit. And I'm going to use, I'm going to use just my regular hotline brush. And I talk about this brush all the time. You guys those of you who are just joining us, or for those of you who watched me work on Lee's portrait, I used the hotline brush, I used a chalk brush, and I used a smudge brush primarily throughout the entire portrait. And so this is sort of my go-to brush. It gives me the texture that I like. It gives me the opacity variation that I like. And so between this and the chalk brush, I can really, really get some nice textures. Now, I do have a symmetry ruler in place so that whatever I draw on one side, I draw on the other, which cuts down the workload quite a bit for this particular image, because a lot of it is in symmetry, right? I want my horns to be my swords to be center stage of this image. And so I don't have to paint all 3 swords. I only have to work on 1.5, right? So I have the one in the middle, which will be partially done through the symmetry ruler, and then the one on either side that'll be completed with the symmetry ruler, which cuts down a whole lot of work for me. So I'm really excited about that. And what am I doing? And yeah, so Cosmic Gateway's Tarot. So we're making our way through this deck really quickly, which I'm feeling really great about, right? So I've been working on this, as I say all the time, since when was it? November of 2019 is when I began this project. So it's taken me a while to do. However, I think setting aside the time to work on it has really sort of made a difference in the amount of time that I'm spending on it, as well as how quickly it's coming together. So I'm really excited about that. I still have not nailed down a printer just yet, but I still have we got like 38 cards, so I have a while before I have to worry about any of that information. I am though thinking about how trading and things like that are changing, so I am considering going with the traditional size, but I really would like to stick with the larger size card, because that's just sort of what I have in mind. I don't necessarily want to compromise on that. But as I'm planning these cards and I'm sort of setting up the files and things, I do sort of keep in mind that if this becomes a thing where I have to sort of cut the size down, even if I want my own custom size, I am sort of planning the cards in a way where it won't make too much of a difference. So I'm really working on that, trying to figure that out. And then from there, just completing the images. Now, the only other thing that I have to do in terms of getting this, aside from the images, is to finish writing the book, right? So there for a minute, what I would do is I would write the interpretations for the cards as the cards are completed. Sometimes I'm on that, like sometimes I'm doing it and it's working out the way that I need it to work out. Like as soon as I finish, I go right into writing the interpretation. Sometimes I don't. That's where the live stream sort of come in handy for me, because this is a visual sort of record of me working on it, me talking about the story, and it jogs my memory. Because sometimes what has happened is, over the years since I've been working on this particular project for so long, what will happen is I will do something and I'll forget sort of why I did it. So I have to kind of sit with it, remind myself of why. Sometimes I take notes, sometimes I do not. So it's very important, I think, that I kind of get back in the habit of that, right? Sort of writing the interpretations as I go. And that way, once the images are done, it really is just a matter of going into print, because the book will be ready and all of that. And it will come with a guidebook, just like your standard tarot decks that you get from your spiritual shops, or you order online, or wherever you purchase your decks and stuff from. So it'll be very much in line with that. It's just work, right? I don't know that I knew starting this project that it would be so much. I'm really happy to do it. I've learned so much along the way in terms of what it takes to manage a project of this size, what it takes to plan for something of this size. And so all of that, I feel like, is just sort of par for the course at this point. So I'm just trying to minimize any potential headache down the line as much as I possibly can. And of course, it is a learning experience, so a lot of this is showing myself grace along the way, as I sort of learn different things. So I'm really excited for us being on card 40. So this is card 41, and of course the Four of Wands, which will be starting on Wednesday for our Bring Your Own Project streams, is going to be card number 42, and that'll be the fours. And so after that, what I'll do is sort of prepare myself to think about the threes, not the threes, child, the fives. Think about the fives, which I have not given a whole lot of thought to. So that's going to be very interesting. Now, I've done some work on the screen, just to sort of jump subjects here for a second. I've done some work on the screen where you have indications of a sky and sort of trees and things like that in the background. I think it's a little bit too dark, so what I'm going to do is lighten it just a bit in certain areas. And that sort of, what am I doing? And that sort of will happen as I work on this particular image, Because from time to time, I tend to work a lot darker. I tend to work extremely dark, is what it is. I tend to work extremely dark, and sometimes I don't see it until I sort of zoom out of it, or like in this case, I haven't looked at this particular image in a while, and so as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking it's too dark, right? So even though the goal is to have him in this sort of dark setting in this dark room, I don't necessarily want it to be so dark that the printers have a hard time sort of registering certain colors. And it's something I've been combating a little bit off and on, sort of as I work my way through this project. Making sure that it's not so dark that once the prints get back, I'm having sort of issues with the cards being read, right? So I want them to be legible. I want to make the best product that I could possibly make. And of course, this is my first project of this size, right? So I have to sort of give myself grace along the way, and allow mistakes to happen, and allow those mistakes to be used as sort of a learning process. So it's not always going to be perfect, and that's okay, right? So we want to make sure that we're okay with making mistakes, and that we're comfortable with it, but I want to do the best that I can. So, I have to fix things sometimes after the fact, after I've looked at it, over time. And done that sort of thing, and I'll go back and fix it. A great example of this was the the Knight of Pentacles. So the Knight of Pentacles was one that I had wanted to fix for a really long time, and it was primarily with the landscapes. And you guys will hear me say that landscapes is not my strong suit. I'm not terrible at them, but I'm not as strong in landscapes as I am with portraits, for example, right, or with people in general. So I had to kind of go back and tweak that a little bit, and I feel better about it. It's not perfect, right? But it's as good as it's gonna get today. All right, so I just lightened up that screen. Looks good. I'm going to continue, I think, to work on the mount for my swords, and work on the swords, and just sort of work my way forward. Now, when I'm creating something like this, it's important for me to know that everything doesn't have to be rendered. So that's something that I had to sort of take in mind when I worked on the Four of Cups, and I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. What happened at sort of the end last Sunday is, as I was wrapping up the image, I started to sort of notice that aspects of it was too in focus, right? So there were too many details. There was just too sharp in certain areas, and so the way that I combated that was to simplify that, and I'll show exactly what I'm talking about, because thank goodness I don't think I erased the old layers, but I do want to show you sort of what I mean. So when I am creating compositions and I am working on different illustrations, it's important for me to know when to stop, right? Because I can pick at a thing off and on for as long as my heart desires, but sometimes it's just not necessary. Sometimes it's great to leave certain information up for the viewer to interpret with their own mind, right? So I'll show you in this as soon as it loads. I probably should have shut it down, but that's okay. As soon as it loads, what I mean by that. So in this, I say all that to say I'm looking at sort of the background of my Four of Swords, and I don't know yet if I want to add texture and sort of lines and things like that to the wall and to the doors. It may not be necessary. I'm not really sure yet. It just sort of depends. Now, this is a relatively simple illustration, right? There's not a whole lot going on. There'll be a lot going on in the background because I want it to be a very nice, lush scene. And although I have some sort of pines in the back, I'm thinking of adding a baobab, I believe that's how you pronounce it, tree in the background. So I'm not real sure how I want to approach that just yet, but for now it's just a little too dark, right? And so I just have to lighten it up and also determine how much I want to articulate in the scene so that it makes sense. So that's what we're doing, and my computer is taking a little bit of time. So while it does, for you guys who are joining, first of all, welcome, whether you're watching this live or the replay. Just a reminder of what the Cosmic Gateways Tarot looks like. So again, this project I started 2019, November. So I guess you could say 2020. It was 2019, but like I didn't have much more time in 2019 to work on this. So I developed the first two cards November 2019. That was the High Priestess and Justice. Those were my first two cards. Throughout 2020, I did all major arcana cards. I created all except for, not in that year, but just sort of that's all I worked on was the major arcanas in 2020. Off and on 2020 to present, I've been working on it. And so last year I decided to set aside specific time to work on this project because it is taking me quite a while to do. This is going to be one of those things, I think, like I was watching a documentary about, what is it? I think it's the... what is it? It's an animation movie that was made, started in the 60s. I think they put it out in the 70s. I'm not real sure. And I can't think of the name of it. But the man worked on it for like 30 years. Did he start it in the 60s? Maybe he started way earlier. I don't know. But he worked on it for a real long time. He worked on it for so long that it got to a point where the studio who was paying for this particular image just sort of took it over and decided to... I think, is it The Prince and the Cobbler? Is that the name of the movie? Something like that. But they just kind of took it over and put out whatever they wanted. I don't want that to be this. Luckily, this is an independent project, so I can take as long as I want. But I also don't want to take 30 years to work on something. So, now, what I was talking about in terms of knowing when to stop rendering and when not to. In the background, I worked on the bushes, right? So, let me get back to those layers. Now, in these bushes... it was extremely for my taste, and I don't know again if I deleted some of that or not. But in my humble opinion, it was too articulated, right? So it was way too articulated. It had way too much information. It looks like I did delete it. Okay, but it had way too much information. And so the way that I solved that was to simplify the bushes so that it didn't take away from where I wanted the eye to focus. So the power of being an artist is that you get a chance to tell the story that you want to tell. So if I want people to look at a certain thing within this image, then I will structure the image in a way so that that's exactly what we're looking at. Sometimes when you have too much information, for instance, when I had the bushes way too articulated, it was just very distracting, right? Another example of this is the Two of Swords that I'll show you guys. Let me see if I can pull that up, because with the Two of Swords I did this very deliberately. So what I would do is I would the way I set it up is I wanted the eye to go specifically to the two swords in the background, which are pointing in opposite directions. And the reason, oh, you know what, I did all that and had this thing going, my bad, y'all. But hopefully you understand what I'm saying. But with the what I'll do is show you the Two of Swords. So with the Two of Swords, I had the swords going in the opposite direction. There is a man standing in the scene, but I wanted the eye to focus on the two swords. So the way that I did that was to color the scene in a way where your eye focuses on the Two of Swords, not so much the sort of atmosphere and things that are happening around us, because the Two of Swords and the way that the swords are positioned are there for a particular reason, right? Because this particular card has a lot to do with choice, has a lot to do with making a choice, choosing a path, making a decision. And so the best way that I could think to articulate that was to have sort of a fork in the road situation. So I will show you that here in just a second. I think, child, maybe not, I don't know. My computer is thinking about it at the moment. Come on, computer. If not, we'll get back into these four swords. And then there we go. Okay, let's see. So I'm gonna pull that up for you guys to see here in just a second. And then it may take a minute for it to warm up as well, because it is a big file. And maybe, you know what? Let's do it this way. I think that this image is in this presentation. So let's see if it's in here, and then I will show you through this what it's looking like. But now, again, as I was saying, as an artist, our job is to sort of tell a story, to communicate something, right? Whether it is communicating something that you like, whether it is, whatever it is that you're trying to communicate, you can do that based on the way that there it is. Okay. All right, so at the top where it says Cosmic Aries Tarot, over to the side of it, I don't know how clear that is for you guys, but over to the side of it, there is a man sort of standing in the pathway. Within that pathway, he's looking at the two swords. I lit it so that everything in the foreground, meaning everything closest to our eye, is very dark. But the thing that I wanted to articulate, the thing that I wanted to emphasize is lit up, right? There are sparkles on it, it's brighter, it's lighter, and you can see the two paths a lot clearer. So that is a great example of how you can lead the eye a certain way so that you are emphasizing the thing that you want to emphasize. So when I was working on the when I was working on the Four of Cups, when it came time for me to work on those bushes, they were it was just too much going on, right? So because of that, it was important for me to tone some of that down, right? And I think we came out with a really nice, well-balanced image. And I think by doing that and being sort of deliberate about what it is that I emphasize and what I don't, right? I think we tell a much better story. And so with these cards, with the with the minor arcana cards specifically, because we're dealing with everyday situations, I really get an opportunity to play up the stories, and I create little narratives for each one, which also sort of helps with creating the interpretations that'll go into either the little white book that comes with the deck, or it'll go inside of the companion book, which will be sort of optional. Now, in terms of what the deck will come with, again, we'll have the little white book, which is sort of your baseline interpretations. That'll be however many pages, but it'll have sort of, your basic Two of Swords. When you come up to this card, it means this, and that, right? So that kind of situation. So, but in addition to that, you will also have a companion book. Now, within that companion book, I'll have all of sort of my artist notes. Now, even though we go through the exploration of what these cards mean as I create them, there are other things that are going on in my mind. So there are other little tidbits, other little jewels, other little notes and things to add to that. So all of that will go into the companion book, which I'm excited about as well. I already have sort of a title for it. I've already actually written the first, I want to say 2 or 3 chapters. And so the only thing I have left to write within it is sort of each of the cards, sort of breakdowns and things like that. So that if you are into tarot, if you are into specifically this deck, it'll have all of the breakdowns. Now with that, of course, whatever I see, you may not see, and what you see, I may not see. So there's also the level of, I don't want to tell you exactly what this means. I'm just telling you what I intended, right? And so I'm open it to your own interpretation. All right. So what I'm going to do from here is I think I'm going to go ahead and work on these swords a bit. Now when I do flats, I don't make them super perfect or pretty or anything like that. So what the first thing I'm going to do is sort of tighten up these flats so that we could get a nice sword. Now I had the name of this sword. It does come from a specific culture. I do not know what it is off the top of my head. So next Sunday I'll be a little bit more prepared. Again, I'm pre-gaming for my birthday. So today I'm here, but I'm not like all the way here. So this may not be a super duper long live stream, but I do want to get something going so that next week when we jump back in, we'll sort of be in the mind of completing this particular card or working towards completing this card. So again, I really like that. I like how this one is coming along. It is again inspired by the Harikiri ritual. I do have the symmetry ruler selected so that I don't have to again draw all 3 swords, right? I only have to draw half of one, right, and one other, and the other one will be completed, and they'll be symmetrical, and it'll be very clear and even on my canvas. So that helps out a whole lot. When it comes to digital work, we have a lot of nice tools at our disposal. If I were doing this traditionally, let's say for instance I wanted to draw something and I wanted it to be perfectly symmetrical and exact, there are other ways that I would achieve that. For instance, one of the things, if I were drawing a portrait and I wanted to add certain things, I may start the portrait digitally, right, which I often do. I'll start it digitally, and then if I want to make sure that everything is as accurate as I want it to be, and I want to make sure the drawing on the canvas is exactly what I drew on the computer, what I'll actually do is create a grid, and then from there I do the portrait based on the gridding system. That allows me to upsize things, right? That allows me to draw it exactly the way I want to draw it using the digital sort of tool, using Clip Studio or Photoshop or whatever it is that I'm using at that time. And then from there, I can translate that, I can print it out, I can create a grid, and I know for sure that that grid is going to be accurate. So what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to cut into my little shape here, but what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to make sure that these are even. And the best way that I can do that is to draw a straight line with the eraser. It's going to cut right through what I need, but I can always draw that back in like so. Let's go back down to our swords and do the same thing. I want to make sure that that line is as even as possible. And it didn't do anything on the other side, so let's try a different eraser. Right? And so there are lots of tools that are at our disposal as digital artists, but it does take a bit of skill. So sometimes I see people who are, especially with the advent of AI, there's a common misconception that digital art isn't work. Right? And I think watching me do the portrait, just watching this series, but watching me do sort of Lee's portrait was a great testament and a great sort of demonstration of the amount of work and the amount of thought and the amount of care that goes into digital work. You still have to know how to draw, even if you can hit an undo button, right? You still have to know how to draw, even if you're painting pixels, which is pretty much what this is. I'm just painting pixels on the screen. I have it set to a certain resolution. When it prints out, it'll print out whatever it is that I put on the screen. But there still is a level of skill and a level of care that sort of goes into digital work. There are a few shortcuts, right? For instance, when I was working on the Four of Cups, I could pull up a leaf brush, right? I could do that to sort of cut out the amount of time I spent drawing leaves and things like that. I have spent quite a bit of time actually manually drawing leaves, but you do have a few more shortcuts. But again, there is a certain skill set that takes place. There's quite a bit of hand-eye coordination that has to go into drawing, right? Especially if you're using a graphics tablet, which is what I started with. I started with a little bamboo, and so instead of looking directly on the screen, which is what I'm doing now, what I would do is I would actually look at my computer screen and I would draw down. So I would watching what I'm drawing, and then I would like look at the screen and then move my hand, right? So it's quite a bit of coordination that had to take place in order for me to learn to do that. Having a pen display definitely helps because it's pretty much like drawing on a canvas. So I have it set up pretty level, right? So it's not tilted down. Whenever I paint, my canvas is like straight up, so I'm used to sort of painting at the angle. This is just a bit tilted. I wish I could show you guys how it looks, but it is just a bit tilted, but for the most part it's standing up like I'm used to doing with a canvas, and I am drawing directly on the screen, which is nice, right? This was an upgrade from the graphics tablets, and this is actually my second pen display. So my first one was an XP pen, which was a little cheap thing. I think it was like that one is about this size. It was like $500 at the time. It was great. It was really nice to get started with. And then I was awarded a grant, and I was able to get this one, which is really nice. It was a nice upgrade to it. This one is just a little bit more expensive, but the quality I can kind of tell the difference. But I made some really awesome art on that XP pen, buddy. I tell you what. And if you are interested, you could actually go back to this channel and see some of that artwork. That's still there. I'm still very proud of it, and it looks great to me. All right, so what I just did was sort of cleaned up the shapes of this sword. I'm gonna sort of, whatever I do on one side, whether that is drawing or erasing, it'll sort of happen on the other side. The only time it does not work the same is if I am using a smudge brush. Now, if I do a smudge brush, or for instance, if I sort of smudge in some colors or blend in on one side, I actually have to manually do that on the other. So it doesn't necessarily affect a smudge. But I like this because it's sort of like flipping a canvas. So where it may look good, something may look good on one side, it may not look good on the other. So I actually have to go back and forth between the two. But whatever I do on one side actually does affect the other, right? So I just drew that in because I thought it looked best on this side, but it didn't, right? All right, so I'm just cleaning up my flats. And then what I'll do is probably add some texture. And again, I think this is going to be a short live stream for us today. For one, because I don't know if I'm in the mindset of working on the Cosmic Necklace series, even though this is my day to do so. This is sort of me getting back into it because I have not worked on this particular image in a couple of weeks, right? So I'm sort of reminding myself of it and sort of coming back across whatever it is I had done prior to. But again, I don't think this is going to be a very long card. I'm really excited for what we do with the Four of Wands, because that card is, for me, all about marriage and sort of celebrating a union. And so I still have not decided if I'm going to go with the jumping of the broom. I think that would be kind of iconic though, so I may go that route with it, but I will be depicting a marriage ceremony. And in our development, as we were working sort of on planning the fours together, one of the things that I thought about doing and probably am going to do is with the 4 wands, I want to have sort of a procession, right? So I want people to be holding either palm fronds or some sort of floral element, so that it'll tie into the original card, but a little more nuanced and also a little more zoomed in. So in the original, we have this couple and we have people sort of off into the distance behind them, but it's all sort of set back. And then we have the 4 I don't forget what it's called, but there's like this, I don't know, these 4 wands and then there are these flowers that go across to connect them. So it'll be something like that. I think just more in our faces, right? So I think that would be really, really nice to do. All right, so again, I'm just cleaning this up, just cleaning it up as I go. Don't really have anything this week to talk too much about, but if you would like to support me really quickly before we move any further, if you would like to support me in this channel, please hit the thumbs up. Whether you're watching this live or the replay, of course, I appreciate you so much for being here. Now, if you like the artwork that I create, if you have seen some art that you like and would like for your home, I am running a 40% off sale because my birthday is tomorrow, and every year I do a birthday sale. In this sale, there will be a did it come up? Hopefully it's coming up. There is going to be, there it is, 40% off, free shipping on canvas prints, which of course are ship free anyway. So they're free shipping on canvas prints, but 40% off everything site wide. That's t-shirts, that's journals, that's I think my books are sold out, but I do have like the witchy things journals. I have those. I have some tarot themed journals. I have some artwork in terms of poster prints. So if you want something smaller than a canvas print, this green sort of canvas behind me and the one next to it, those are 2 of the canvas prints that I offer. That is Hermit, directly to my, this is my left, so directly to my left, and over next to it is the Lovers. But I have those as in canvas print as well as poster print. I believe they're in stock, don't quote me, but it is there. So if you would like to support me for my birthday for this year, just to want to support an artist, that is available there. I also have the majority of the tarot cards available as canvas prints, just like these 2 here. You can get those. I think the smallest that I offer is a 12 by 18, and the largest I believe is a 20, maybe a 30 by 40, something like that, maybe. I'm not sure. Let's see. We'll see together. Something like that. But those are all available. Again, those ship free. Those take a little bit of time because they are made to order. So whenever you order one, we make those to order and we ship them to your house, to your friend's house, to your family's house for free. So that is available to you. Everything else ships out pretty much next day because everything that we have available is things that we have in stock, so I can just ship it out to you. So if you are interested in supporting me in any kind of way monetarily, that is an awesome way to do that, because I'd love for you to have some of my artwork in your home. So let's see, I'm going to turn this off. And so if you go to my website, this is sort of what you will see, I think. Come on, it's coming. You will be greeted by myself, of course, but at the top there's going to be a banner. So if you go to the shop, you'll also see that banner as well, and within it, of course, you'll have everything that is there is in stock, so you won't have to wait on anything except for a canvas print. The canvas prints, again, take about a week and a half or so to be made, and then we ship those out to you for free. So if you visit, you'll be greeted by, and this is the desktop version, so on your phone it'll look a little bit different, but you'll get all the categories. So if you wanted to shop something specifically, if you want to go t-shirts, canvas prints, ebooks and books, or posters, you can click on any of those. Those all will take you to all of the items in that category, right? But if you keep scrolling, you'll come up on the journals. The tarot journals we still have in stock, very limited stock though, so I haven't done the second print run for those yet, but we do have those. Those are really nice. And I wish I had one here with me, but they have like a velvet cover to them. And then they have sort of the pages are ballpoint friendly. I would suggest using a ballpoint pen until I do the second print, and then it won't matter what you use. But specifically for these, a ballpoint pen is the way to go. I am out of stock on the ebooks and the paperbacks of my first book, which published 2021, What the Bleeper Shadows. And the reason that I have the ebooks out of stock is because I'm in the process of reformatting those. So that's going to come out. It's going to be really, really nice. The way that I have it planned is it'll still be the same information, still be the same content. A few things are going to get upgraded in that book. So if you have not had an opportunity to read it just yet, don't worry. We're going to put that back out hopefully by the end of this year. So in that, I sort of take you through a journey of doing shadow work, but I'm going to be adding a guided journal to the back of that. So I'm really, really excited about that. I also have the Witchy Things journals. We have plenty of those in stock. So if you like those, you can pick that up. I have t-shirts, I have posters, and I also have canvas prints. So if you click on see more, it'll take you to the category. The same with canvas prints. Those you can purchase framed or unframed. And again, I think that's what we came on here for. the sizes are 18 by 20, 12 by 18. It goes up to a 24 by 36. So the largest size that I offer in those are 24 by 36. And then you have the option of 2 colors in the framing. That is a natural wood color as well as a black color. So if you like it framed, which I highly recommend, that's nice. If you would like a different color other than the 2 that I offer, so say for instance you want a white frame or you want a gold frame, just let me know in your order and we can work that out, because I think I have other options. Those are just the 2 that I offer on my shop, and so it'll make it very easy for you to purchase, right? So all of this is 40% off. Because I'm very close to 40 now. So all of that is 40% off. So if you would like to support me, other than a thumbs up, I would highly suggest and appreciate getting your sale on my shop. All right, so it's only been a few minutes. Again, today I'm sort of pre-gaming for my birthday. We didn't do a whole lot on this. Just worked on the horn for the swords, and I tightened up the flats. So I think, you know what, we're gonna call it here. So I really appreciate you guys for joining me, whether you're watching this live or the replay. I really thank you. I'm going to show you what the sketch looks like really quickly for those of you who have never seen this one, specifically this particular image. So this is the 4 of Swords, which is one that I have been working on during our Wednesday streams. And for the Wednesday streams, those are a little more chill, don't do much talking, but I am in the chat. I'm very much in the chat as I'm working. So I loved when you guys come through for that. So these, as soon as I turn off the flats, I'll show you exactly what the sketch looks like. And then of course we have the flats done. So we'll come back next Sunday and work on this a little bit more, and on Wednesday we'll be beginning the 4 of Wands. All right, so here we are. This is the sketch. So I'm really excited about this particular one. Of course, it's going to be dark, a little bit dark, as I tend to work. Pretty dark, right? But I'm really happy with the way that the composition looks right now. So it's going to be really nice to see where this one goes. So I'm not going to hold y'all, because I ain't going to hold myself. So again, whether you're watching this live or the replay, I really appreciate you all for being here. And just a recap really quickly to see if I can, let's see, child, if it come up. Just in case you guys missed it, over the last couple of weeks, we've been working on the 4 of Cups, which I finished last Sunday. And of course, we had our contest winner, Lee, who won a portrait painting for entering the contest. So we'll do that again, because I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed being able to paint one of you guys, and really enjoyed being able to show off that particular skill, because you guys have seen me work on the Cosmic Gateways Tarot for a long time, because that's where my focus has been, sort of working on knocking this particular project out. So having the opportunity to paint a portrait, especially of one of you guys, was really nice. It's really magical to me, and I'm really happy with the entrances. So if you entered that contest, I thank you so much. If you didn't enter the contest, no worries, there will be another one, I'm pretty sure. But if you would like to tell me in the comments what your favorite card from the Cosmic Gateways Tarot is and why you like that card, I love to hear about it. And one of the easiest ways to see it is to go to my Instagram, because they're mostly there. Right? So if you have an Instagram, please be sure to follow me on Instagram, B Lewis Arts. That way you can see all of the cards, and whenever I'm posting, you can kind of see what those look like. But live is probably the best place to find sort of the backstory of these cards and sort of watch the development in real time. Because generally this is when I do it, right? So this is when I do it. And as soon as this loads, I'll show you what the 4 of Cups looks like again, and I'll show you Lee's portrait, and then we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it a stream. So I hope you guys again had a happy creative week. And I'm sorry this one was short. I just, I'm pre-gamer, baby. I got a 39th birthday coming up. I did not see my life going to 39 years. So here we are. I'm very, very happy and thankful to be here. And I'm happy that you guys are here to sort of witness the journey and to sort of be here as I learn and grow and express myself. So I hope that you are inspired to do the same as I'm working through this, as I'm sort of actively working through my fears of creating live, right, and creating in front of people, because for so many years this was a very solitary activity. Even when I was commissioned to do it, even when I was collaborating with clients and things like that, the actual the technical part of the creativity was something that I only did by myself, right? So to be able to share that part of the process and to be able to show you guys that even as a professional, as someone who's been a professional for over a decade, I still make mistakes, right? I don't take myself too seriously at all. So I want you guys to sort of go after what it is that you dream about. And it's not too late either. I'm 39 again. Tomorrow is my 39th birthday and I'm still figuring things out, right? So I don't want you to feel like you're at a point in your life where you can't sort of explore new things and you can't take a chance on yourself because you are whatever age you are. Do it anyway, right? This is your life to live. So this is the 4 of Cups that we finished last Sunday. I'm very happy with the way that this turned out. It looks nice. I actually went and did the post-production part, so where I did any of the color correcting, sort of setting up the numbers and the borders and getting it prepared to print, and it looks really good. Right, so I'm really happy about this. I'm really a fan of the way that we have, so this is what we worked on last Sunday that I really like, right? So we worked on nestling the singing bowls within this space and nestling his foot within the space, so it looks like he's actually kneeling down and not so much like, because my son looked at it, he was like, I thought he was running. No, baby. He was like, he's kneeling down, and a lot of that had to do with how it was colored, right? So you want to be very deliberate as artists in how we sort of display certain things, because people will see stuff you didn't even think was there for it to be seen. So this is really nice. My favorite part of this is how the leaves highlight in the bowl, so it looks like she's sitting in a forested space. So I really, really like this card. The other thing that we worked on this week was, of course, Lee's portrait. And just in case you're just joining us, again, I'll show you what that looks like. And be sure to go back and watch this past Wednesday and Thursday's live stream, because I did the entire thing live, minus the sketch, which was something that I did just sort of on my own time to save time. But it took about 7 hours including the sketch. So I would say I spent about an hour sketching, and then I spent the 2 live streams were both 3 hours long, right? So it took about 7 hours or so to do. Portraits are my favorite thing in the world, even as a graphic designer, and I get branding projects and food truck projects and all kinds of things. I love it being commissioned to do portraits. I love it. It's like my favoriteest thing in the world. For the longest time, I would be commissioned to do sort of bereavement portraits, so people would get their loved ones done who had passed on. So I really enjoy doing that, and I enjoy sort of making the family who's left behind happy in that way, right? I've done all kinds of things. I've done portraits that were true to what I was given, sort of the reference. I've done ones where I got a little creative and was able to sort of be free and express myself right through those portraits. But it is absolutely my favorite thing, whether I'm painting, which I don't do as many traditional paintings lately as I used to, but whether I'm painting, whether I'm doing sort of my black and white ink portraits, or I'm doing digital portraits, which is what I prefer, it's just less mess. I just love painting people. Right? Just absolutely love painting people. So I really like having the Cosmic Gateways Tarot, because although faces is something that I'm incredibly, I would say, very, very good at, I'm able to sort of stretch myself a bit and do more full body poses with the Cosmic Gateways Tarot, because now we're dealing with actual scenarios and situations. So as soon as Lee's portrait loads, we'll show you that as well. And then I'm going to get on out of here. So again, whether you're watching this live or the replay, I thank you so much for joining me. And again, if you want to see the full creative process of this particular image, be sure to go back and watch those last 2 live streams. Now, I'll probably do a time lapse of this, so there'll be sort of a short coming soon of me working on this. I was able to condense it down through Clip Studio to like 6 minutes, and then I can do like a 30-second or a 60-second video, so we'll see how that goes. But as soon as it loads, I'm gonna show you. And then as soon as I show you, I'm gonna get on out of here. All right, So thank you so much to everyone who entered again. If you would like to go back and see the entrances and to see what people liked of the Cosmic Gateways Tarot, specifically what cards and why they liked it, there's a few live streams ago where I announced the contest, and then in that you can read sort of through the comments of that. And if you would like to add to that, if you would like to tell me what your favorite card is and why it's your favorite card and why it resonates with you, I would love to hear it. I love getting the feedback. Now, even on Instagram and things like that, where I used to post the cards much more frequently, I don't do that as much, but in the beginning it was really, really nice to be able to see and hear how much people are connecting with this particular project. That means a lot, because I absolutely took a chance, or am taking a chance, actively taking a chance to do something that was just something I dreamed of, right? All right, so this is Lee's portrait. Came out really, really good. Now, at the end of that last live stream, the last thing that I worked on was sort of the interior of the sunflower, and it was giving me the blues, baby. It was driving me up the wall. But what I will say is that sort of zooming out and looking at it after a couple of days, that's probably another of my favorite parts of this. Flowers is one of those things that is like my second favorite thing to draw, flowers, but I had never done a sunflower. And with sunflowers, you have your petals, but within the center, you have like a cluster of many flowers, right? And so as I'm sort of working through this, I don't want to give too much detail in it. Again, when we were talking earlier about knowing what to render and what not, but I still wanted it to read as close to the quality as her portrait, right? So her face looked great. I wanted to make sure that her face and her jacket and her shirt and all that looked great, but I wanted to make sure